Being born in the 1930s, America was one thing. Being born black was another. Being born blind and black, that was an entirely different story. But the real story isn't any of these. The real story is how one of America's most powerful institutions, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, pursued a single musician for 20 years. This video goes beyond Ray Charles's battle with heroin. This is the story of an era when the government systematically targeted black artists, sent informants to hotels, and trampled constitutional rights, and this story is darker than you think. When Billie Holiday protested racist lynchings with strange fruit, Anslinger made her his personal target. He had Holiday surveilled for years, sent informants, got her imprisoned. And in 1959, as Holiday lay dying in a hospital bed, Anslinger's agents handcuffed her to the bed. They handcuffed a dying woman to her deathbed, and this system's next target would be a blind pianist who started heroin at 16. September 23, 1930, Ray Charles Robinson was born in Albany, Georgia. His family was so poor they lived in a shack with dirt floors. At 5, he watched his younger brother George drown before his eyes. By age 7, he went completely blind from glaucoma. At 15, his mother Aretha died. His father was already gone. Ray Charles was now completely alone. But when this blind boy's fingers touched the piano, something happened. He moved to Seattle, met Quincy Jones. He combined gospel with blues, invented soul music. With I Got a Woman in 1954, he shook America, and right then club managers started offering him something to relax before performances, marijuana, then heroin. From age 16, Ray Charles was an addict, and this addiction would last 17 years. November 12, 1961. Ray Charles checked into the Sheraton Lincoln Hotel in Indianapolis. Hit the Road Jack was topping the Billboard charts. That night, while his room was quiet, the phone rang. The caller was someone he didn't know. "I have something you might be interested in," he said. Ray was a heroin addict. He didn't refuse. The man came to the room. Ray paid him for 12 capsules at $3 each. It was a setup. November 14th, morning, 9 a.m. A knock on the door. "Western Union." Ray opened the door in just his underwear. 2 Indianapolis police officers burst in. No search warrant. But they knew exactly where to look. They found 10 heroin capsule residues, a needle, and a jar of marijuana in Ray's leather bag. Ray was taken to the police station. The press was already there, as if they'd been tipped off. A blind man could hear the camera shutters but couldn't see anything. Reporters swarmed him. Ray began to cry. "It's a rotten business," he said. "A dirty business." But then something happened. Judge Burke ruled the search was illegal. Charges were dropped. 1961. Ray Charles was no longer just a musician. He had become an activist. On March 15, 1961, he was supposed to perform in Augusta, Georgia, but he learned something that stopped him. Blacks would sit in the balcony. Whites would be on the dance floor. Ray refused to take the stage. He paid a $757 fine but didn't change his stance. "I won't play where there's segregation," he said. After 1963, he never performed at any segregated venue. There's more. Ray Charles was friends with Martin Luther King Jr. and was one of the civil rights movement's financial supporters. This is where the story darkens. From 1956 to 1971, the FBI ran a covert program called COINTELPRO, Target civil rights activists, black leaders, and the artists who supported them. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover had called Martin Luther King the most notorious liar in America. Anonymous letters were sent encouraging King to commit suicide, and Ray Charles, a drug-addicted black artist who supported the civil rights movement, who wrote protest songs, a perfect target. October 31st, 1964, Halloween. Ray Charles landed at Boston Logan Airport returning from his Japan and Europe tour. Federal agents were waiting for him. This time it wasn't police, it was federal marshals. They found heroin in his luggage, but the quantity was notable. 2 duffel bags full. Prosecutors claimed Ray was a drug distributor. This was Ray's 3rd arrest, mandatory minimum sentence, 5 years in federal prison. But his lawyers told the court a different story. Ray had been addicted for 17 years. Other musicians in his orchestra had the same problem. These drugs weren't for distribution, they were for personal use. The judge made an offer. If Ray entered treatment, he would delay the verdict for a year. Ray was admitted to St. Francis Hospital in Los Angeles under the supervision of psychiatrist Dr. Hacker, using the cold turkey method, meaning no medication assistance. He quit heroin addiction in 4 days. 17 years of addiction ended in 4 days. When he returned to court in 1966, the judge gave him a 5-year suspended sentence, 4 years probation, and a $10,000 fine. Ray Charles had escaped prison. More importantly, he had escaped addiction. 1966, Ray Charles returned to the stage. His first single was I Don't Need No Doctor, a response to everything he'd been through. Then, Let's Go Get Stoned, #1 on the R&B charts. Crying Time reached #6 on the pop charts and won a Grammy. And 18 years later, a full circle was completed. The Georgia that fined Ray $757 in 1961 invited him to the state legislature in 1979. Georgia on My Mind was officially declared Georgia's state song. The state that punished him for standing against segregation was now adopting his song as their anthem. Ray Charles died on June 10, 2004 at age 73 from liver disease. He left behind 12 children from 10 different women, 17 Grammys, over 50 million albums sold, and a legacy. But this video story isn't just Ray Charles's story. This is the story of an era when a government systematically targeted its own citizens, when Harry Anslinger's Federal Bureau of Narcotics hunted black jazz musicians, when the FBI's COINTELPRO program surveilled civil rights activists. Billie Holiday was handcuffed in her hospital bed. Letters were written encouraging Martin Luther King to commit suicide. And Ray Charles, one of music history's greatest geniuses, was set up with informants, but Ray Charles won. He defeated addiction, he stood against segregation, and with his music, he broke down walls. And Georgia, the Georgia that punished him, now sings his song every year.